All right. Welcome to your 10:30 talk in track 2. We have Gopi and Aruneesh, who will be giving a talk on unexpected AI system hacks.
Good morning. How are you doing? Thank you for coming. I'm Gopi Ramamurthy and he is Aruneesh, and we'll be talking the most interesting topic of the day, the top unexpected AI hacks. So before we start, we like to, people are taking pictures. Go ahead. Great. Before we start, I'd like to thank the CactusCon organizers. It takes a lot of volunteers hours to put together an event like this. And the good thing about this conference I like is they have included kids. So that's very, very important to bring the cybersecurity awareness from the early age so that we will have a safer world. Second, I would like to thank you. It's a Saturday morning, but still you are here. Thank you very much. And for this presentation from our own experience, and we also looked at multiple books and articles we put together, we'd like to thank to the resources. A little bit about me before we get on. So I've been in the information security for 15 years, and I worked in fintech, managed more than 300 plus audits, and then I built this security framework 3 times from the scratch for the data center and for the cloud. So building the security for the cloud is quite easy. Building the security at the data center with everything, you rack the server, you connect the cable, you configure the whole network, everything, secure the whole layer, and then you install the software, again secure the software. That's really hands-on. So if any of you have done that, then you know exactly what it takes to build the whole security. The second thing is I'm very active, contributing my time back to the community, because we learn, we also share to make ourselves a trustworthy ecosystem build between our network, so that when I need help, they will be there to help. When they need help, I can help themselves. And at present, I'm working for a company called Symmetry. They are in the data security, and this presentation is not about Symmetry, but I like to thank my employer for sending me here. And Symmetry does a data security on cloud, on premise, and everywhere. Aruneesh, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. My name is Aruneesh Salhotra, and good morning, everyone. I know it's a bit early for me, for sure. I don't get up that early on Saturdays, but anyways. So unlike Gopi, I moved into security maybe like five years ago. I mean, like doing AppSec and a little bit of data security. And when the AI really came on the radar almost like 2 years ago, I was like, there is so much to learn with AI. Again, there is one part. Oh, okay. Is it audible in the back? So I started looking at the AIs almost like 2 years ago, and I didn't feel that I can learn everything on my own. So what I started like 2 independent research groups who were focusing on AI regulations, policies, like AI hacks and stuff, right? So as part of that particular journey itself, I also became like part of OWASP in a very big way. I do a bunch of different stuff. I mean, like I invest in companies. I'm a fractional CISO for a couple of organizations. But at the core of my heart, I'm like a technologist journalist, right? I don't want to be a specialist in any specific area, but this gives me freedom like to pivot from one particular area to another, right? Whether I'm doing technical sales or I'm doing like pure development or security or audit, anything, right? Similar to what Gopi mentioned, I'm very passionate about non-profits education itself. I love to actually educate kids at different levels, whether it's a teenager or elementary school kids itself. And also like looking at educating the masses about the connected world and the risk involved with that one, right? I recently became a member of Infra, which is a collaboration between FBI and public and private sector. So anybody who wants to get engaged and look at what's happening at a very big level, at a macro level, I think you should definitely look at Infra. I'm very outgoing. I love to play sports. I love biking, golf, ping pong, and there is a specific reason I actually bolded pickleball on this presentation. Yeah. Any pickleball players in the audience? Okay.
Move to next one.
Yeah. So AI is revolutioning the world. But what happens when AI goes wrong, right? I mean, there are a lot of material in this one, but anybody wants to, again, we want to actually keep this interaction very, this presentation very interactive itself. Anybody wants to share some experience of AI, using AI in a daily life or in some capacity, and you see okay, something doesn't feel right. Maybe you're trying to ask a particular question and things didn't appear the way it should be. Anyone? Okay, anyways, so I think AI itself is very powerful. I mean, whether you are doing a simple chat GPT to actually write an email or do a summary for a particular book or create a small video, what happens when something goes wrong in that one, right? Maybe the summary doesn't come the way it should be, or the video itself is different, or you're writing an email, and or maybe you're doing some code generation itself, right? So there are risks involved in using AI. You can't just take everything you're seeing blindly itself, right? If you're pushing a piece of code generated by your model itself, you want to actually test it thoroughly. So, I like to start this presentation, or at least this particular context, to relate everything to what happens in our daily lives, right? I picked on golf and pickleball itself. So these are some of the unexpected stuff that happens in pickleball, right? I mean, not every court is evenly leveled itself. Sometimes you can have a weird ball, or you hit a good smash and it hits the net itself. It can actually fall on either side. So this is something that you don't prepare for, right? You can take as many coaching classes itself, but they're all these unexpected stuff. Whether if you talk about golf itself, you might have a perfect drive itself, and suddenly a gush of wind comes and it changes the direction, and you can be in the water or you can be in the woods itself. It happens, right? So similarly in AI itself, in the world of AI, right? Unexpected stuff can definitely happen, and they will. So linking all of this, we talked about for pickleball and golf, basically talking about unintended consequences of using AI. So the next, all rest of the slides are divided into 3 sections. We talk about the AI ecosystem, the AI hacks, and the second part is the top 10 expected AI hacks. This is not a published thing. This is not OWASP or anybody has published this one. This is our take on this one. And then we close out with Q&A and some takeaways.
Okay, thank you. So before we get into unexpected hacks, we like to give you a high level overview of AI ecosystem. So if you look at this particular slide, so I've been through ISO 42001 as well as EU AI Act and bunch of frameworks. So these frameworks is done by multiple people, multiple smart people. They took the inputs from this multiple people and then build the framework. And this framework puts the category AI producer, AI user, AI developer, and multiple within the ecosystem. So hardware, software, proprietary, open. The reason I am bringing this up is in coming slides, you need to pick and choose which AI hack attacked which user or somebody within this table. So this will be useful, please remember. But one thing I found interesting is these frameworks have not included one main character that you see in the last column of this table, a bad actor. So you need to know the bad actor exists everywhere, and the bad actor can go against any user or provider or distributor within this particular table, what you see. Okay, so let's get on to what is the known hack, what is the unknown or unexpected hack. So if you have been through WASP top 10, that gives you top 10 threats. If you have been through MIT AI framework, what they have done is wonderful job of collecting more than 40 frameworks across the world put together. It has 1,000 plus risk for AI. If you filter by security alone, there are 93 security risk alone out of 1,000. So what helps? It helps you to understand the complete picture of security. Within 93, as a security professional, maybe 30 may be applicable to you, or 40 may be applicable to you. But knowing what already other experts have done, it helps you to speed up your knowledge on the security risk. The second thing is I also seen good ones from the private companies. There are multiple like Google, IBM, and Databricks have given the different security risk within AI. So whatever happening, the risk, these are all, I would say, probably non-AI hacks. The threats the known threats and the known hacks. On the right side, we are going to go through what slightly unexpected happened in the last few years. Okay, I think this is the repetition, but I would recommend as one of the takeaway from this session, you go and understand MITRE ATLAS framework and MIT one, as well as Databricks one, and the WASP top 10. So that will definitely help you to speed up your knowledge on AI security risk. Could you?
So we have listed out like hacking against AI systems, listing by hack types. Again, like I'm pretty sure you have seen like a variety of these one in real life, right? Whether it's social engineering attacks itself, credential harvesting attacks, privacy attacks itself, jailbreaks. And I'm pretty sure like you have seen DeepSeek in the news for the past couple of weeks, right? So this is not a very comprehensive list, but it's actually like building a list together to discussion start, like to have like thoughts in your mind when you go home and like research more in this particular thing. Voice cloning, image and video cloning, there are like different things. Malicious GPT is coming left, right and center. If you ever go to Hugging Face itself, you see like a lot of LLMs out there itself, but again, like not everything that you see can be trusted blindly, right? You have to do your diligence itself. And again, like a similar list for using AI systems to hack non-AI systems itself. A similar list exists in this category also itself. And these are like some of the unexpected AI hacks itself, sequential attacks, business attacks itself, model extraction, audio attacks. Again, like it's not, again, like not a comprehensive list, but it gets like a thought going on your side. So based on the top 10, 11 thing that we're talking about, we try to actually categorize this into the impact, right? Hacks. The first one is hacks that impacts organization and enterprises itself. The second category is like what impacts like typically user, me, yourself, your family itself. And the third one is hacks that impacts infrastructure and the government. So while we look at those particular hacks, what we have done is have like a 3 gradient that we have put together, right? What is X? Is it expected to happen? What is the impact to the organization or the users? And the third one is like, can these be prevented? How easy or difficult can this be to actually do the prevention? So starting with like organization and enterprises. So this is something that came out in the news. I think it was based out of like China itself. Like to have an invisibility cloak which conceals the person, and eventually people invisible to the AI security cameras. Like most of the security cameras would actually look at like different things coming from a person, right? Whether it's like infrared radiations itself. So if you have like something, you can actually break the AI systems based on that one, right? And the impact itself could be a physical access control can be broken. And if you are a regulated industry or like a critical infrastructure, this can actually cause a little bit of concern on that side, right? And what does it defy expectation? It's very hard to monitor if you're like getting into a data center or some other facility itself. It's very hard to actually monitor. The ways you can actually prevent, add like some other detection mechanism apart from heat movement itself, like maybe shadow or light reflections. So this is our take, right? Okay, is this expected to happen? It's not immediately, but this is something that may eventually happen. The impact could be like huge, especially if you're like NASA or some other organization. The impact can definitely be high. Prevention, I think these are like some complicated stuff that needs to be built into the systems for prevention. So that's why I put like a high gradient on this one.
I'd like to add something. Yeah, most of the time the physical security is the first line of defense, right? Anyone trying to do recon, they try to first break the first line of defense with the invisible cloak or anything. So how this works is, in the daytime, they use the reflect or deflect cloth. In the nighttime, like thermal heat imaging to avoid that. So this is very effective way to break the first line of defense and start the recon, not to attack, but start the recon. The scoring on the right side, for every hack we are going to talk through, we put this scoring. So it's unlikely to happen or expected to happen score. So we could pick 4 or 5. It's expected to happen, but not if it is totally unexpected, we have given the score it's slightly higher. Similarly, like impact, we have picked a score, but you may have, based on your organization, the score may be instead of 8, it could be 6 or 7. But what we are giving the message here is, any hack you encounter, pick a metric and then see in the risk, what's the impact, how I can fix it. So any work you do, you need to have metrics. And then you can improve, either go or left or right based on where you need to go. Please go ahead.
Yeah, the second one is around like the voice jailbreak attack itself. If you structure like your prompt of the question itself and inject like maybe some sort of malicious question in audio input itself, maybe you can actually change the tone itself so that you are kind of requesting. So you can actually try to bypass the safeguard and jailbreak the control that I've built into that particular model itself. And using this, you can definitely cause harms to individual and community itself. And I think this is through a security research which talks about it's easy to jailbreak this one using audio and signal itself. And again, like the ways to prevent is like a different thing that you can do, like to look at the speed, frequency, accent, language, then the background noise or the intents. Like.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is our take, right? Like in terms of the scoring itself, right? The prevention may not be that easy in this particular case. A lot of things needs to be built into the model and the application.
Yeah. So BEC was very active. PC attack was very active for last 8 to 10 years. But the AI BEC hack became even more easier because somebody using, say, Copilot at Office, they search whom do I have to pay. It shows the routing number. It shows the account number. So what it does is it's not checking whether those account number and routing number coming from the approved list. It could be from somebody sent an email, a bad actor sent an email with the vendor name, and the co-pilot or the AI may be picking unapproved account number and routing number. So the finance person by mistake might send the money to the wrong destination. So this is becoming very powerful in the BEC world. For BEC, you don't have to hack. You just ask for money with your own account number. You get it. $29 billion were stolen using BEC hack in the last 3 to 4 years. So you don't have to be hacking. Just ask for money. You will get it. Next one is supply chain hack. So this one is well-known hack in supply chain, but this is slightly different, right? So they put a model with a almost similar name, and the actors even showed a warning, this is not the model you're looking for, but still the users, they in a hurry, they go and download it. Users are not as smart as you to do the checksum or anything. They download it and use it as long as name is kind of equivalent or similar. Now what happens is it gets into your system and then it generating wrong outputs or stealing data, we don't know. So we need to be aware of different types of supply chain hacks within the AI ecosystem.
I think I'd love to add something to this as like a personal experience. In one of my clients' organization, the business units kind of do trading all the time, right? And sometimes they use like a screen which is giving them how to actually trade that particular ticker. And because you have been doing it for such a long time, it becomes like a second nature to actually keep clicking and going to the next screen itself. And one time there is a pop-up that appear on the screen. Now, something is malicious on this, and at least 3 business units just clicked on that one, didn't report to security organization, and become like a huge deal almost like a week after that one, right? And caused like a severe incident, right? Same thing on this one, right? If it's a second nature, people are expected to just push. So I think one of the things that gets highlighted here is to have a better security awareness training in your organization to do it repeatedly. Again, I come from a financial background itself, working for a bank itself. It's very easy to actually do data poisoning when you're having your model learn, right? If you inject false positive transaction itself, right, you can have the systems or stuff which can ignore real fraudulent transaction itself, allowing bad actors to actually bypass fraud control that you have within your organization, right? And given the amount of money that we're talking about, the financial impact can be huge on this one. And again, you can actually improve or try to prevent this one by improve noise filtering and anomaly detection itself, right? I think data poisoning, we don't talk too much about this one, but it's a real deal, real concern for organization itself, especially if you're building models on your own, or you have a foundation model and you're building on top of this. This is something that is serious concern for financial institutions.
I'd like to add something. So for this one, data poisoning can be done at multiple levels. So if you can figure it out, the source for the models, you can go and poison the source. But it will take longer time, but easier way to data poison is through reinforced learning or human feedback. If an attacker figures out you have a weak link in your reinforced learning or human feedback system, and they would try to poison your model and model output in your system. So this is very critical if you are handling financial fraud. So there are institutions, big institutions, they are moving billions and trillions of data. And for them, they have a separate unit to do real-time fraud risk monitoring. So a bad actor finds that out what ecosystem, what AI systems, what anomaly detection you have. They would try to pick the weak link in like RL or HF to pick and create noise. And then when they send the fraudulent transactions, it may not, your risk monitoring score may not score to the highest level that could be detected and prevented. Next one. Okay, let's have some fun. You're all quiet. So, now first part we went through some of the hacks that could impact your employer, your organization. The second part is about you. So you as an individual, you as a family, you have children, you have people that you need to be worried about, right? So let's talk about you. The first one is this, they clone the image of famous celebrity and then send it out that this particular person is in hospital and need money because of current going divorce issue with another person. I don't have money, I need money. And the person in France, she believed. And she wired $800,000. And then the another thing, interesting thing she did, she divorced her husband. Now it gets complicated, right? Then she found it out, it's not true. So what I'm telling is, there are 8 billion people on this planet. We cannot make everyone smart. And if everyone is smart, then there's a problem. You don't have a job. So what I'm telling is, we need to be aware of such scam could happen. And it could be to vulnerable people. It could be your aunt, it could be your uncle, or it could be somebody, right, who are not aware of what all change is going in the world. And then we need to keep having a conversation with our kids and family and so on.
I'll probably add like something which happened in New York City. So I'm part of like a couple of panels and a couple of consortium. Like I talked about Infra. So I was on a panel with US Secret Service once, and one of the stories that this agent was talking about, like there is a lady who are almost like sent all her life savings, almost like 1.5 to $2 million itself, because she was scammed and she thought like her son was in danger and stuff, like he needed money. And again, like the money was gone and the authorities were contacted, but there's limited stuff that authorities can do, right? Based on the damage that is there, they might say, oh, this is too less for us to actually even intervene in this one. And in this particular case, as you see, I mean, like this is not just happening in US, it can happen globally. And you don't have those kind of protections all across the world in the same uniformity.
Okay. The next one is wearable AI hack. You might have seen this kind of glasses 8 to 10 years back, but they were not connected to AI. The power of AI is, number one, anyone looking at you can collect about your personal information, everything so quickly. And the most important thing you need to notice here is, it shows on the iPhone, it shows on the phone for the bad actor. Quickly, it tells you like where you went to school, what is your net worth, everything it shows up. So the bad actor can choose whom to attack. He may not attack a regular person with a credit card of 5,000 limit, but he could see who has a black card, who has 100,000 limit on their credit card, who has high net worth. So we are trying to become rich, we are trying to become net worthy, but please be aware of this hack as well. And so this particular one, a little bit more, right? So the bad actor starts the conversation and then tells about you, and hey, you are doing this great work, blah, blah. And then your safeguard goes down. In the sense, you started trusting that person. So, but forget us. We are slightly better because we are aware of this risk. Think about people, common people who are vulnerable people, start talking at common places, and they would start, okay, hey, can you watch my laptop? I'll run to restroom. And the laptop may have some information. The bad actor can steal. Can you watch my kid? I'm at airport. Can you watch my kid? So this one could start breaking your safeguards you have, and then they can pick and choose who are vulnerable and attack. So please be aware of what's the big difference between this glass and the glass came 8 to 9 years back. This one has a mobile app and gives all information instantly. That's the power of AI. So please be aware of this attack. Yeah, the next one is voice hack. So this, when some of the financial institutions or critical institutions do not have multiple ways of authenticating you. Some still have old ways of only one way of authenticating you. United Healthcare went through a bad hack, and the person sitting in the House or Senate saying that we don't have MFA for multiple systems. United Healthcare has so much of money, so much of revenue, so much of risk. If they cannot have MFA implemented on many systems, think about small credit unions. There are like close to 2,000 credit unions, and you may be doing business with some of the credit unions, some of the banks which may not have 2FA, which may be just relying on one of your biometric. So this particular one, hacker or a reporter tried using a cloned voice and then got access to the system. What it means is you're talking to someone on the phone. I'm talking right now. Your voice can be recorded and then cloned and then get access to your critical accounts. So be aware of this hack.
I think I'll give some perspective on this one. Like even with like a sample size of maybe like 3 seconds or 5 seconds, you can actually start emulating as if I'm speaking like Gopi or somebody else, right? And in fact, like there is an incident that happened in Singapore. I think it was like almost a year ago, where the assistant for one of the head traders or the CEO wired almost like $25 million, and it had like a huge. It was there in the news. I mean, like if you Google it, you can actually find out. I see like a few of the heads nodding on this one, but this is a real thing, right? That's why the impact for this, like it's very high. And maybe you might say like this is expected to happen. Maybe it's possibly like maybe a 2 or a 3 itself based on your organization, but it's a real threat out there.
Right. Takeaway from this is see what institutions you are working through, your critical accounts, see which one has only one factor, and please avoid biometric, because once biometric is copied, you cannot get it back. If you have a password, if you have a MFA, if you have a password, you can change it. But biometric, if you lose it, can be abused multiple times. Okay. So this one is quite interesting, right? Using AI to abuse AI or to hack AI. So the corporations signing up to have the accounts on the AI systems to make use of the AI platform. And here again, just only one factor, the key, the API key. So some of the SaaS, they use API key, they have some IP protocols and other things, but recent AI platforms, they do not have the IP restriction because the request could come from globally. So if you lose API key, then you end up paying more than what actually using, because bad actor is using API key for accessing the AI systems.
So coming to the third category, like what can impact the government, what can impact like financial institutions, right? So there is a prediction or like a statement that was given by the SEC head a few months ago, Gary itself. The it was there in like Financial Times. It was said like, okay, financial crash caused by AI, nearly unavoidable, right? And if you remember, look what happened almost like 15, maybe 16 years ago, there is like a flash crash happened, which brought the market by almost 9% in because of one particular issue. The strategy, the algorithm that were trained on like acting on the volume of the transaction, but not on the price point. So I think there is like large order that was submitted into the system, which impact like the street across the board, because the guardrail that were built into systems could not caught this one. And literally, I mean, like if you know, like 9% of market going down in like literally half an hour, it's a huge thing, right? And they had to actually put like circuit breakers into this one, right? The trading was stopped for rest of the day. So this is a real risk around market crash itself, right? Huge market impact, significant losses can happen on this one. And based on organizations which are like incorporating AI into their systems, like the base for foundation models, you'll see like most of these trading systems are possibly using the same foundation model. If one of those models have an issue or something, right, it impacts the whole street, right? And it's just not localized to one particular state or US only, right? It can have an impact across the board. It starts in like Japan, and by the end of the trading day itself, it can actually have huge impact globally. So something that can be done, like putting enough guardrails into your trading systems, regulation around AI usage in trading application, regulating the cloud providers. Right now, the cloud providers are regulated. If you're using like some of the LLMs that are being hosted by them, there needs to be some regulations on that as well, and maybe have like more tabletop exercise around like when to inject like circuit breakers into the system in different organizations. So again, like what is the AI talk without talking about DeepSeek itself, right? I mean, like it's all over the news for the last 2 weeks. So within DeepSeek, I think like this is our take on this, right? Of course, this is like a public domain knowledge. NVIDIA lost almost like 70% of their market share, close to like $600 billion by a simple news, right? We also find like, okay, it definitely breaks trust in AI companies in US. I know NVIDIA, OpenAI, all big names itself, at a society level as a user or in organization, they were like, okay, they're spending so much money to actually build this particular system, which can be done in a different country at a fraction of the cost, right? So it definitely breaks the trust, which impacts the market. Again, like it has geopolitical implications to demean like huge companies within a particular region itself. And another thing is it also highlights the risk of using the models too quickly, right? I mean, like when DeepSeek happened, if you look at the number of downloads that happened for DeepSeek itself, it was huge, and also like DeepSeek became like the #1 downloaded application on iStore or App Store.
Like that. Yeah. So the real implication here is attack on your IP, intellectual property. So what it means is, how many of you working on CMMC, or how many of you aware of CMMC? Good. The reason the CMMC came in picture is our adversaries, they copied the blueprints of our weapons, including fighter jets. So your tax dollars, close to $11 trillion, went on to building different versions of fighter jets, our government money, your tax dollars. Our adversary copied and built the prototype in 3 to 4 years. So you and me spent 15 years building multiple prototypes and building fighter jets, but they built it in 3 to 4 years, copying your money, your property, right? So what this means is DeepSeek, you're building a company, you're building a big company, you're building a big ecosystem with all the wealth, but a foreign adversary could copy your data or copy your model or find easier way to replicate and then bring down your value, right? Competition is good, but copying is not good. So please be aware of that's one of the biggest hack. And it could impact your own investment in your stocks. It could impact your company value. It could impact our economy. So please be aware of this bigger picture and bigger hack. Okay.
So I think we actually repeatedly talked about over the course of the presentation. I think it's important to be aware what's coming down the pipe and have like a strategy to actually implement those things, right? Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, what you're using, have an inventory of all your systems in your environment itself, know the environment conditions itself. The business context becomes very, very important, right? What exactly are you using the AI or the LLMs in your environment itself? And definitely expect the unexpected, right? You might do all sorts of exercises, but there might be some edge cases. And again, AI is just one of those things. Is no matter how many guardrails that you put in, there's going to be an exception every week that's going to be uncovered, right? I'm pretty sure like some of you would remember like almost like 4 months ago, there is a hack against OpenAI where if you ask the same specific question in English, it actually put the guardrail saying, well, I'm not going to answer this particular question. Let's say I'm going to ask a recipe for a mocktail, which is like something to create bombs itself. If you ask it in English, it's going to stop. But if you ask the same question in a different language, the models actually give you all the answer, right? Or if you ask the same question in a past tense, instead of asking, how do I make mocktail cocktail right now? And I said, like, how was it being prepared like 50 years ago? The model was actually going to answer that one, right? So that's the thing about like expect the unexpected itself, right?
Okay. So for this particular presentation, we went through close to 40 hacks, but we picked up around 12 that could relate to you. And after this session, you could learn more what are the different hacks. To summarize, we'll start with your family, right? First, if your kid is getting a cloned voice call that it's mom or dad, you need to have a password within your kids or your aunt. Have a family password to double verify that it's not a bad actor cloned a mom or dad voice or kid voice and calling. So it may not happen. You will be fortunate, but please be prepared. With your employers, what I would understand is how your employer or how your organization, where you are working, what is the AI ecosystem you have. If you remember the first table I showed to you, are you a producer or a deployer or a user? And within your organization, what models you are using, how it's connected, what is the data, and what's the data getting fed to the model, what is the reinforced learning data coming in. Please be aware. You may not have AI system, that's fine, but eventually you will be directly or indirectly using AI systems down the line. So please be aware. As a security professional, always ask questions. Please be aware of the architecture within your organization. And to be effective in AI governance, you need to be effective in data governance. If data is wrong, almost most of the AI could behave wrong. It could be our financial transactions sending to the wrong routing number. It could be something else. So please put a strong governance around data. You want to add more?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, go ahead.
So I think like we have one particular slide if people can actually use this one to look at the references that we actually used. I'll put the slide up for like maybe a few seconds. Let me know if something shows up on your respective phones. What's that?
That's the references.
Yeah. Oh, for this particular link? Oh, actually, sorry. Wrong slide. This is another one that you should actually reference.
The previous QR code was a wrong one. We just tested you. So, so if you go to a like parking lot they put a QR code, right? Scan here to pay. It could be a bad actor QR code. So please go to the underneath. You could see the URL as well, right? Like misa.city.parking. So please go to the right URL or make sure you're not scanning the wrong QR code, because it's so easy to generate QR code with AI or with no AI, so easy. So please be aware of wrong QR codes. Yeah, so this one, as a cyber security professional, our systems may not be fully secure, but when we get up every day, we will make improvement. As a team, as a worker, we will work hard to make little bit improvement. Even the president will have 50 things on his table as a top critical risk. As a security professional, you will have so many risks in the morning, right? So please pick and choose which you need to prioritize and then solve the top priority ones. Okay, any questions? How many of you have seen this movie? Office Space? Yeah, very funny one. This manager keeps coming and then very specific about the folder, right? So I picked that one to just to make you remember certain critical things as you go home. Thank you very much.